been doing some thinking on a sensitive subject, but I have to just come right out and say it to all of you, my friends and allies. The resistance needs better heroes. The reason why I say that is this. There are a lot of brave and wonderful people doing great work all around this country, and there has been for quite some time, but lately we've been idealizing people that, while they may make great allies, are not necessarily role models for the kinds of citizens we want to be or want to encourage others to be. A couple of milestones that came up in the last week made me think of it, and I'm going to talk to you about both of them. But first, we need to talk about torture. Donald Trump, as you may know, has nominated Gina Haspel to run the Central Intelligence Agency. Haspel is a career operative in the CIA. According to the well-documented public record, she directed torture operations during the Bush era. She ran a CIA black site in Thailand, which was used to interrogate suspects accused of being part of al-Qaeda, many of whom were there on extremely flimsy evidence or no evidence. As you may or may not recall, they used to pay informants to turn people in, so people started naming their friends, their neighbors, their bosses, whoever they wanted, for the few $100. Some of them, of course, were al-Qaeda members, but she ran this torture site. She also, by the way, signed the order that was used to destroy the evidence of torture, the video evidence, an act that may itself have been illegal. Now, people are rightfully outraged by the nomination of Gina Haspel to run the CIA, but let's get to who else you might want to be outraged at in a second. John Kiriakou, who is a great who is a great whistleblower, been on the program a couple times, said the message of the sense to the CIA workforce is simple: engage in war crimes and crimes against humanity, and you'll get promoted. Okay, I share the outrage and the horror. We've got to do everything we can to make sure that Gina Haspel does not become the CIA director. But let's talk about some other people that are pretty despicable. We're making some heroes out of some of them on the resistance side of the ledger. For example, Samantha Power, who was Barack Obama's UN ambassador, tweeted recently, "Not a good idea to piss off John Brennan." People have been celebrating John Brennan, some people have, because he came out swinging against Donald Trump after Trump meanly and viciously fired Andrew McCabe from the FBI just a day or two before he was going to get a pension, retire with a pension. Now, Brennan was very eloquent in his raging against Donald Trump, but the enemy of my enemy is not necessarily my friend, especially when the enemy of my enemy is named John Brennan. Now, John Brennan replaced Gina Haspel as head of the CIA's clandestine division, and he defended the CIA's use of torture in 2013. So how can you be outraged at a torturer like Gina Haspel and yet make a hero of someone who has defended her for her torture? He also attacked the idea of transparency, which I think most of us believe in, saying after the Senate Intelligence Committee released this report, "I think there's been more than enough transparency over the last couple of days. I think it's over the top." A year later, we learned that the CIA had been spying on the Senate Intelligence Committee, a very kind of dark and dictatorial move against a democratically elected group of its own overseers. Who was the CIA's director while that spying was going on? That hero, John Brennan. Now, we probably don't have time to go into James Comey, who's gone back and forth from hero to villain and back again. I happen to think Comey has a certain level of personal integrity, but I also think he has values that I'd make him an ally, but not so much a hero. Same for Robert Mueller. I want Robert Mueller to dig out the truth. I think Robert Mueller is a tactical ally in uprooting the nefarious deeds of one Donald J. Trump, but Mueller also played an instrumental role in deceiving us into Iraq, stating incorrectly that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. He also let the FBI under his directions state incorrectly that there were 5,000 al-Qaeda terrorists in the U.S. So he ginned up the hysteria, he ginned up the rush to war, and, you know, again, good tactical ally, yeah. Good investigator, yeah. Role model for the resistance, I would say not. You want a hero? Go and read about a guy named Hugh Thompson Jr., because last week we also had the 50th anniversary of the My Lai massacre. Hugh Thompson Jr., helicopter pilot, stood up against the guys doing the massacre and told them to stop it, and then testified before Congress. Now that's a hero. I am